Yeah, hi, well, let's take a look at a topic for you, which is about equity release. And I've called this the numbers, so we're looking at a numbers-based one there, the numbers fueling equity release. Now, if you're in the market for equity release, the later life market, which many of us are, then you will be keen to know how the market's progressing. And you can hear anecdotal evidence, can't you? Yes, the equity release market's really busy and everybody wants equity release products. That's all great fanfare. But sometimes, like me, you need a bit of logic to prove it, and I'm going to prove it to you with the numbers. The numbers are fueling this right now. Now, the first number for you, or the first thing to think about with equity is interest rates. Now, we're talking here about interest rates. We're talking here about the bank base rate. Now, the point here is that the future holds lots of low interest rates. Low interest rates are here to stay. Now, if you looked at the numbers, of course, if you looked at the Bank of England, Bank of England percentage rate, and you could look at it, say, sort of, 1-2%. Yeah, 2%. There you go for you. And we took at sort of 2008 when we sort of kicked these numbers off, 2020 and onwards. So kind of sort of just an idea for you. Now, as you can appreciate, of course, high interest rates came to an end in the financial crash. The financial crash was pretty devastating, and the Bank of England reduced the rate right down. And that rate of interest, which tickled along at sort of 0.5%, went on forever. Now, bear in mind, of course, that previous years, if any of you are aware of that, we had high interest rates. In the 90s, we had like 15%. It came down, and it trickled into the noughties at around sort of 7-8%. Late noughties, 5%, 4%. So we always had high interest rates, well, high-ish, but they've been 0.5%, as you can appreciate, forever. Now, when we had the Brexit vote, the Bank of England even dropped it down even further, so that it went down to 0.25%. Now, that tickled along for a little while, of course, and that went back up again, and it's gone back up again now to 0.75%. Hey, hold on. Not too far now, 0.75% now. Now, it'll probably stay the same. It may go down when we have Brexit. We don't know. There's talk of it. But it's going to have low interest rates for a long, long time now. So we have to get used to that. And that's fine for you and I, because we pay a mortgage or we have personal loans, credit cards or whatever. But, talk to credit card companies. They still charge 30%. But the point here, the problem is, the people with a lot of money are having problems. Now, I'm not talking about you and I investing. I'm talking about institutional investors, pension funds. So you've got these massive pension funds which are worth huge. Institutional investors who've got, for example, let's put that up for you, funds, unit trusts, insurance companies. These people that have got a lot of money. I've had some been down to the hospital last week with some checkups and things. The NHS pension funds worth billions. There's pension funds in this country occupying half of the wealth that people have. It's more than property wealth, pension funds. Massive amount of money. Now, these institutional investors need to invest money for a long period of time. Safe. They need to be fairly safe. That's your pensions to think about. And the problem they've got, of course, is that they can't invest it in normal things because the returns are really low. They have to invest it in shares and stuff like that if they want to. But they're searching for reasonably safe investments for large sums of money. And they've looked at mortgage-backed securities in the past, which of course are coming through even more and more now. But what they're looking at, though, is they're looking at the equity release market. So if we take a look at the equity release market for you, get a different colour pen. We'll flip this one over here for you. Have a little graph, because this is all about numbers, remember. The equity release market has grown substantially because all of these insurance companies are entering into the market. So you've got, for example, Legal & General, great company. You've got Aviva. You've got Canada Life. These are companies who look after massive pension funds and funds, these firms. And they're looking for somewhere to put their money, to invest their money, to lend their money, if you like. And they're looking around at the equity release market. Now, the equity release market since, say, 2012 has grown dramatically. You probably know the numbers. I'm looking at 2020 there as well. What's happened to the equity release market? Well, it's gone from sort of 1, 2, 3, this is sort of 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. I mean, you can look at the numbers if you want to. Of course, you can. Back in 2012, the market was worth about one to 2 billion, and it's been rising ever since, and it's on an increase there. They reckon that the market now is worth about 3.63 billion pounds. So we're up to that figure there, 2019. That's a huge marketplace. Now, this is money being lent, of course, to people wanting equity release, and the majority of this money is coming from the big ones, the insurance companies. Now, insurance companies love this business because, well, they know it, don't they? They're really good at underwriting because they've been underwriting insurance for like ever. They're really good at assessing risk because that's what they do for a living. So they just transfer their expertise over to this. They've got computer systems and everything to do this. So of course, insurance companies are pumping billions of money into this product, this equity release product. Let's just put that there so you know what we're talking about, which is fab. Now, obviously, there's a lot of building societies, small building societies getting involved in this as well, but the amount of money they're lending is tiny compared to the big boys that are coming involved in here as well. So that's driving the funding of equity release. That's driving the amount of money available for equity release. And these guys are just lending the money and putting it straight into their pension. They're using pensions as cash, basically, to lend and putting the investments, if you like, into their funds. They're not even securitizing it. So they've just got unlimited amount of cash. Now, then you look at demand as well. Now, demand itself is also increasing dramatically. So, I mean, I'm running out of space here on my whiteboard, so I'm going to draw a little picture over here. Hopefully you can see it on the screen. I'm going to put a little picture over here in the bottom corner. I think you'll be able to see that, which is a property. You know, there's a picture of property. So how much is potentially available for equity release? Well, they reckon that the amount of money locked up in property is £4 trillion. Now, if you don't know what £1 trillion is, have a look on the internet. There's lots and lots and lots of zeros. You know, I talked about billions here being lent. Now, there's thousands of billions in £1 trillion. It's a huge amount of money. Now, this is the amount of money locked up in housing wealth in the UK. You know, all the property everywhere in the country is caught up in that. It's a lot of money. So potentially, there's a lot of money. Now, if you take a look at the marketplaces over 75s, so over 75, let's put a little red pen here for you. People over the age of 75, there you go, which is the main market for equity release pretty much really, obviously 60 plus. Now they've got wealth, but so they reckon 47 pence in the pound that they have, there you go, 47 pence in the pound is equity in their property. Now think about it. People above age 75, they've got pension assets, they've got savings, investments, that sort of thing. But almost half of their wealth is locked up in their property, which is mortgage free. So not only have we got money available to lend, we've got people who've got the capacity to borrow. Half of their wealth is in property, which is just stuck in bricks. They could release that wealth to fund their retirement. And that's exactly where the money's coming from. That's why I think equity release is being fueled by numbers. Low interest rates are driving institutional investors to want to find a place for their money. They find a home for their money by lending equity release. There's unlimited money. The demand is massive. There's £4 trillion in housing wealth. Over 75s have more than a half of their wealth locked up in property. So potentially they could just go and equity release. And there's a lot more over 75s now than ever before. Of course, the baby boomers getting older. People are staying alive. You know, I'm going to the hospital now for preemptive work that stops me getting any kind of illness in the future. There's bowel screening, there's cancer screening, there's heart screening. People are getting healthier now. A lot of the over 50s now are giving up the alcohol because of healthy lives. So all those things are coming through. So the market is massive. So, you know, if you're not in the market for equity release, you definitely need to think about it seriously, because it really is a growth market and a really interesting one to get involved into. Hope that's been of use to you and interesting. Bye.